Hey everyone, so it's Hearth and welcome back to my channel. So on today's video, we are going to be doing a reaction to Sky Life's video, I Learned Witchcraft from Real Witches. So reaction videos are not really my general content on YouTube, but you guys have been asking for it, so I am trying to deliver. So if you are new here, hi, my name is Hearth. I've been a practitioner of witchcraft for about 15 years, and I typically make educational witchcraft and pagan content. So these are quite unusual videos for me, but a lot of my amazing subscribers wanted me to do reactions to popular YouTube videos about witchcraft that are typically made by non-witches, to see whether or not they have accurate information and whether they are spreading it in a suitable manner. These videos are not created in any way to bash the person or the video, it's mainly just to get my opinion firsthand as I'm watching it of what I think about the content. So I do have one other thing to say, and that is a massive shout out to Harmony Nice. She is probably the first person, as far as I'm aware, she's one of the first people within the witchcraft community to do this style of video, and she is where I got the inspiration from for these videos. I'm not sure if she has done this particular video, but she's done a few others. I'll link her stuff down in the description box if you want to go check her out. And I will also link the original video of what I'm going to be showing you down there as well. I don't want to show the entire video. Obviously, I want you to still find reason to go and check out Sky Life's channel and to watch it for yourself. So I've never actually played through this video ever. I've seen it pop up and gone, maybe not for me, but this is going to be my first time actually playing through the video, so let's see what it's like.
I pierce the skin to take my woes, my fears and sorrows, Persephone, goddess of the underworld.
Straight away I'm intrigued, because this individual, the person that's doing the ritual right now, I think he talked to Anthony Padilla, I can't say his last name, in his video about witches, and he was really interesting. If you haven't seen that video, it's on Anthony's channel. I think the name of the channel is just Anthony Padilla, I think. He spoke to real witches and spent a day with them, and I'm pretty certain that this gentleman was one of the people that he spoke to, so I really like that so far. Really reputable people within witchcraft communities, so yay.
If you Google the word witch, you'll find this definition: a woman thought to have magic powers, especially evil ones, popularly depicted as wearing a black cloak and pointed hat and flying on a broomstick. Or this second definition, an ugly or unpleasant woman. But based on how long witchcraft has been around, this definition seems to be quite limited and primarily based on Hollywood's interpretation of the witch.
Immediately, I know I'm gonna like this video. Immediately, I appreciate this. So straight off the bat, this is what it claims witchcraft is, but it doesn't seem right. And to me, I really appreciate that. A lot of the time when you watch these style of videos, this is what I believe witchcraft is, and it's usually like a bunch of nonsense. And then they don't really develop that opinion as the video goes on, whereas straight away this doesn't fit what reality is, you know. Not every witch is going to be a haggard old green lady. So it's straight away I appreciate that there's that instinct of this doesn't sound right, and I wish more people had that, so I really appreciate that that's straight away how this has started.
In recent years, witchcraft has experienced a surge in popularity with the development of the New Age witch. Bloggers, YouTubers, and Instagram influencers now happily show off their altars, crystals, tarot card spreads, and musings on the latest moon phase. But what's behind the stereotype and stigma of the witch? That's what I wanted to find out. So I went to meet some real witches, including 2 New Age feminist witches and a professional male witch with a deep knowledge of this ancient practice.
Okay, immediately, I love this. I thoroughly appreciate this. I like the fact that they're talking about it as an ancient spiritual practice. A lot of these videos just kind of jump straight in and go Wicca, 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 and there's nothing wrong with Wicca, but a lot of people confuse the two. The people, at least the people that I know of in this video that they are going to be talking to, are really well versed in traditional witchcraft, and I really, really like that. I like the fact that they are looking at a broad spectrum of people. It's not just women, it's not just one location, one shop, one person. It's a group of people. They might know each other, but it's different people. So you're not just getting the women, you're getting the men. You're getting a range of different practices. And I really like the open-mindedness going into it. Immediately, they are not focusing on the stereotype. They're looking to break the stereotype and learn the reality of it, where I find that a lot of the videos that are made on this subject, they almost aim to continue the stereotype by only talking about specific things by specific people and that kind of thing. So I immediately really, really like this.
So these could be witches that are practicing dark magic and I'm gonna be sacrificed or something. I don't know.
First little thing there about sacrifice, but to be fair, as someone going into this with no idea what you're getting into, I can understand there being a little bit of concern there, because obviously there is a lot of the idea that witches sacrifice children and all of that kind of stuff, which is nonsense, by the way, for anyone wondering. But I can understand it, and although it's not the greatest stigma to have around it, they've announced that it's there and they're gonna try to fix it. So I do really like that. And I love the nails.
Hello! Nice to meet you.
My journey began with going to see a professional witch named Mystic Dylan, who's been practicing witchcraft for 20 years now. This is what the home of a witch looks like.
Right?
You're ready for Halloween.
Absolutely.
This is your season. You have a broom!
Yes, and the bristles up to keep the spirits away.
I'm really excited to see this. So they're talking about a besom and a broomstick. Is he gonna mention it? Is he gonna mention the riding of a broom? I'm curious. Let's see.
Why is that just the biggest thing that people know witches for?
He is.
Like riding on a broom? It's a long story.
Not really. It's more an interesting story. So you would use psychotropic drugs or herbs. You would make a salve out of it, and you would rub it on the end of the broom, and you would put the broom inside of you, and you would fly. So not necessarily riding the broom as in flying, but tripping out.
Thank you, Dylan. I really appreciate it. No, that's fantastic.
Yeah, for real.
Inside?
Inside. You weren't expecting that, were you?
No!
A lot of people weren't.
I absolutely love that they mentioned that. A lot of the time in these videos, they kind of dodge the subjects that are more uncomfortable. So like, yeah, the idea of using psychedelic, psychotropic drugs is something that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it is in some parts of the history of witchcraft, and it's what makes some of the most stereotypical objects a lot more interesting. And a lot of these videos will skirt past the subject. They'll joke about flying a broomstick, or they'll joke about cauldrons, but they won't actually get into the nitty-gritty and tell people what they're for. And I like the fact that he's very no nonsense, this is the reason why that is considered to be a fact. And I really like that. And I might be a little biased because I really like Dylan. I've seen him in a bunch of different stuff and he always has such good information. So I might be a little biased because it is Dylan and I do like the content that he gives out to people. So yeah, but so far, going well.
One of the first questions I had for Dylan was why he calls himself a witch as a male instead of a wizard, which is what I thought the male version.
Finally, okay, I really like this. I went into this going, I'm probably not gonna like it. I like the fact they've spoken about that, and they kind of touch on it in other videos, but they never like get down to it. And I really like the fact that they've spoken about it. Maybe because this is a longer video, they feel as though they can put that information in, but it's really important that it's put in. And I really, really like the fact that they've included Dylan in this video because it does give that male representation that a lot of these style of videos just don't have. A lot of the time it's all about the feminist witches, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. I don't think that you can truly appreciate the range of beliefs and practices and the individuals involved if you're only ever talking to young 20-something or late teenage witches. Like, I just don't think you can do it. And there's no shade to young female witches, not at all. but I feel as though sometimes I need these videos to be talking to the older individuals, the individuals that represent in different ways, other than just young women. So I really like the fact they've included him in, because it's going to make it a lot easier for the males that are curious, or those that just represent as something other than female, to be able to look at witchcraft and go, hey, I can do that too. And I think that's really important, because as much as I love Instagram and Instagram witches, 90% of them are women, and they're usually in their late teens, early 20s, and they're all very beautiful and very aesthetic. And I think sometimes if that's the only representation you have, you kind of alienate the other people that present in different ways, that see themselves in different ways, and they look at it and go, well, I'm not a 19-year-old beautiful teenage girl, therefore I can't do it. And that's really disheartening. I like the fact they've included other people in this video, because it gives that person a chance to look at the video and go, you know what, hey, I'm really interested in this, and if they can do it, I can do it too. So I've gone off on one there, but I really, really appreciate that. Like, you guys have no idea how much I appreciate that.
They automatically think black magic. The truth is that magic has no color. And actually the word black magic has a lot of racial connotations to it.
Yes! And if you've seen my black and white magic video, I thoroughly agree. Magic has no color. And as they've said there, the racial stigma behind the term black magic, white magic does still exist. It's not the same as it maybe used to be, but it is still there. Magic it's an energetic response. So you push out your energy and you gain a magical response in return, but what you're pushing out is just energy attached to an intention. It's not like distinctive black and white. And I think a lot of people, especially when they're going into it, they get really confused about that. So yes, they mentioned it. Really appreciate that.
The general origin of modern-day witchcraft in the Western world, specifically Wicca, is mainly derived from Celtic paganism, coming from the Isles of ancient Great Britain.
I think also a lot of people think that witchcraft is this like religion. Wicca is a religion, and Wicca is a closed religion, and they practice witchcraft, but witchcraft in itself is a practice.
Yes, finally. Okay. I know I've said this a lot already in a bunch of videos. Wicca is not witchcraft, and witchcraft is not Wicca. They can be incorporated together, but they aren't one and the same. And unfortunately, so many of the videos that I've seen on this subject think they are the same thing, they treat them as the same thing, and they are not the same thing. So I really appreciate the fact that he's been exceptionally blunt with this and is like, Wicca is not witchcraft. They're two different things. So I can really get behind that in this particular video.
Wiccans call themselves witches,
Yes.
and they practice witchcraft
Yes.
within their religion. All Wiccans are witches, but not all witches are Wiccan.
Next, Dylan showed me the art of bone throwing, a type of divination practice. These bones are unbelievable. I am picking up a cloth.
This is actually a chicken.
This is a chicken's foot. Oh my gosh. So what is bone throwing that we're gonna do?
Bone throwing, it's also known as claromancy, the art of throwing lots. This is more a very New Orleans tradition, and essentially the idea is that every bone has an association. You would ask a question,
really
you would
like
shake,
this.
you would throw the bones, and depending on where they land, that reveals your answer.
Yeah. No, I really like this in that they're showing practices that are not that well spoken about. So bone throwing or lot throwing, it's not that frequently spoken about, and this is very traditional practices. And a lot of the time in these videos, they do very much focus on the ceremony of this, the words of that, so mote it be this, so mote it be that. And I appreciate that in this, they are really getting down to the nitty-gritty of what a lot of people practice as a day-to-day life tradition. And in day-to-day life, you don't do a bunch of ceremonial rituals with large gatherings of people. Instead, a lot of practitioners are doing just general day-to-day, more simple, individualistic practice. And I like the fact that in this, that is what they are talking about. They aren't just talking about the ceremonies, they aren't just talking about the higher magic. They are talking really about what people do in their day-to-day lives, and it's true traditional witchcraft, and I really like this. I went into this thinking I wasn't gonna like it very much, but no, I really, really like this.
I'm super pumped because right now I am on my way to go meet up with the Basic Witches. The Basic Witches are these two really cute millennial girls who have a podcast called The Basic Witches where they talk about witchcraft, and they have on real pro witches that they interview, and they kind of take witchcraft and put a modern new age spin on it. I would categorize the Basic Witches as sort of LA's Instagram witches. But to me, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think they're just using these practices of witchcraft and evolving it in a way that speaks to a younger audience and is interesting to people.
Okay, so I've actually never listened to this particular podcast, and I've never seen these two individuals like in my normal Instagram life. So after this, I'm definitely gonna have to check out a little bit more about it. But I like the fact that they're including in multiple different people. As I mentioned earlier, the fact that they've got masculine identification in this video is really, really good. And I'm curious to see how different Dylan's practice is to the Basic Witches, because I am questioning whether one is going to be very much more my kind of witchcraft, the very traditional, nitty-gritty, down-to-earth, day-to-day practice, get your hands dirty, and I'm really interested to see if the Basic Witches is a bit more ceremonial, because that's what you tend to find. You tend to find that the Instagram witches are a little bit more aesthetic in their practice rather than kind of nitty-gritty, get your hands dirty kind of stuff. But let's see.
I think to be a basic witch is to be embracing your spirituality and divine feminine.
Witchcraft is totally a part of the feminist movement in that it is about accepting femininity, the divine feminine, and embracing it, not shaming any desires, not having to apologize for existing and wanting, all these same ideals as feminism.
Okay, so there's a couple of things that I agree with and a couple of things that I don't. So I think it's very important in all of this to note that witchcraft isn't just about femininity. Like, yes, there is a lot of feminine aspect going in, so the goddess is a really big part of a lot of people's lives, and as soon as you leave a very patriarchal system like the very conforming religions, it can be very freeing to people who've maybe felt very controlled by kind of masculine control, and they can now be free of that. And I think that's really important to acknowledge that, yes, these kind of practices are a great way for people to be themselves, to express themselves, to express their femininity, to open up about things. But I think it's important to know that witchcraft isn't a feminist movement. It can be used alongside feminist movements to help break out of the societal constraints, but it shouldn't be classified as a feminist practice. And I think I've read a lot of books, well, I know I've read a lot of books where they're very much pushing the idea of only women can practice witchcraft because it's a feminist movement. Only women can do this, only women can do that. And as much as I love the fact that women can do this, I think it's also important to acknowledge the balance there. Witchcraft is for everybody. Whoever chooses to practice it is okay to practice it. And I really appreciate what they're doing. I've got no qualms at all with what they're doing. I just think it's important for me to just interject there that although yes, it can be used alongside feminist movements, it shouldn't really be classified as a feminist movement in its own right, because that does kind of alienate people that maybe don't want to be involved or included in that kind of small category. I don't want this to come across in a bad way at all. I don't mean it to. I'm just not very good with words. I hope that makes sense. I really hope that makes sense. It's a great tool. It's not solely for that purpose.
Witchcraft has really become a lifestyle, I think, for both of us.
One way I use witchcraft practically is having these little physical reminders of good mental health practices. A crystal, whether I believe it does something or not, is there for me to remind me like, okay, I'm gonna set this on my yoga mat and remember an intention that's gonna help me feel better.
Ding this bowl that tells me to speak my truth, and I use essential oils. I mean, I am a stereotype, but it's more than that.
Yeah.
It's also acknowledging darkness and the truth.
Vulnerability, going towards fear to find find opportunity and magic. It's genuine for us. Like, we take it to heart. We're genuine in the way that we use these things. We're not just dancing around flippantly or to be cute on Instagram. It actually is a practice.
Yeah.
For me, what's underneath the stereotype of, yes, I have wings on my back and I burned sage before we started rolling this. What's behind all that is that my absolute sole purpose is to help women.
Okay, so this is a section that I'm not really quite sure how I feel about it. They very clearly use words like for women. We do this for women. And I struggle a little bit with that because for me anyway, it's all about, and this is only from personal opinion, that's all it says, is that for me anyway, it's all about balance. And I anyway find it difficult to acknowledge the feminine without also acknowledging the masculine, because that balance is found in everything. And the feminist movement is very much important because there is still that lack of balance, there is still that lack of equality. But equally, I feel when you completely remove the masculine from something, you also lose that balance. And witchcraft is a balancing act. It's always a balancing act. And I think you can't go into it going, oh, I'm only going to empower women, because within witchcraft anyway, especially now, it's the men that are very isolated from it. And witchcraft isn't a practice based on your representation of yourself through whatever gender you choose to express. Instead, it is an integral part of who you are. Like for me anyway, I personally couldn't work on the basis of I'm only going to empower women. Because I think when it comes to witchcraft, everyone deserves to be empowered. And regardless of what gender you present as or what you express yourself as, I don't think it should really matter all that much.
Leah and Rachel shared a spell with me for manifesting money. It was during this experience when it started to click that witchcraft is very much just about setting clear intentions through some kind of physical representation, and using ceremony or ritual to call into your life that which you desire.
The other thing in this, I think I was kind of right in my assumption. It's not like it's a negative thing, not at all. But as she said there, it's that witchcraft is all about setting an intention and using representation to gain what you want. And I think that is definitely a valid technique. It's definitely a valid way that people do it, but there are other ways for people to do it. And in other practices that are not the very modern practices, you find a lot of ancestor work, you find a lot of spirit work, you find connecting with spirit animals, deities, your lineage, you work with spirit guides, and there are many, many ways of manifesting your desired outcome that aren't just, this is what I want to achieve, here is a picture of what I want to achieve, here's a candle. And I think that there's a much broader scale of things that you can do. So this is definitely a completely valid way of doing it, no doubt about it, but I just want to state in there that this is one way. This is the most popular way on Instagram of witchcraft. And actually, if that doesn't resonate with you, that's completely fine, because that is only one small technique. There's a huge range, there's a whole world's worth of different techniques, and we can't just isolate it down to this is all you can do. Because I find a lot of people that they come to me and they're like, oh, well, I tried doing this type of working, but it just doesn't feel right. What do I do? Am I just not meant to be a witch? And the underlying of that is that is one technique, and if that technique doesn't work for you, there are so many more that you can use. You don't just have to use these representational things if that doesn't resonate with you.
I was ready to experience a real witch ritual. Dylan is the high priest for a local coven of witches and invited me to experience a ritual for Samhain, the witches' new year, aka Halloween.
We pour in the salt to represent the earth. We pour in water for joy and mirth. Now we light a sacred flame. And with air, we close the circle in Persephone's name. We take the sacred fruit, the malum, which represents sin and passion. And with that, we pierce the skin and insert our woes, our sorrows, and our fear.
We pierce the skin to insert our woes, our sorrows, and our fears.
We pierce the skin to insert our woes, our sorrows, and our fears.
We pierce the skin to insert our woes, sorrows, and fears.
So below, we honor the spirits and those we used to know. Blessed be, so mote it be.
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 The circle is cast and never broken. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.
Yeah, see, I know it's very much personal bias. You know, you're going to have people that very much connect with the more modern style of doing things. I personally very much more connect with Dylan and his style of doing things. This tends to be my personal style of doing things. For me anyway, it's the more practical for me, and it's definitely very much a personal taste thing, but I love the fact that they did include Dylan in this because he brings in a whole new level of practice that a lot of people don't acknowledge because it's not as Instagram aesthetic. And there's nothing wrong with Instagram aesthetic, but Instagram very much caters more to one style of working above others. And I really like the fact they included him because it does bring that alternative, more traditional style that a lot of these videos just don't have.
That was not what I was expecting.
What were you expecting?
I was expecting it to be so much more dark and scary. This was just a very lovely ritual.
Yeah.
It's all about intention.
Yeah.
It's really all
Yeah.
about intention.
Yeah, I already feel lighter, you know?
Right?
That's the idea.
This is why you guys do this.
Yeah.
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 I've taken on this duty of dispelling that stigma and trying to break that stereotype. You know, people have said, well, what if witchcraft is just, you know, it doesn't work? What if it's just a placebo effect? Well, then it's a magical placebo effect.
Yes, see that is one of the best ways of describing it. I get it all the time. I get people coming up to me going, yeah, but what if it's all just in your head? I'm like, well, who cares if it's all in my head? If it makes me feel good and if it makes me feel better, then that's great, isn't it? Like, people tend to have this all or nothing approach when it comes to witchcraft. It's either like the only thing that works and it's amazing and it works instantly, or it doesn't work at all and it's all in your head. And I think that the approach right there of, well, if it is a placebo effect, why does it matter? Because a placebo effect still gives you the result that you want. It's just not in the magical way that you were initially expecting. So either which way, it enriches people's lives and it gives them the outlet that they need. And so for me anyway, I don't care if it's placebo effect or not. To me, it's just a wonderful magical system. And whether it's placebo or not, it helps a lot of people. No, I really, really like that. That is the best one I've seen so far. So I tend to avoid this style of content because I always go into it thinking this is going to be terrible. This is just going to increase the difficulties that the rest of us have. But no, I really, really loved this. This is the best video I've ever seen on the subject done by a YouTuber. I am thoroughly, thoroughly impressed. Thank you so, so much, Skylife. Thank you so much. If anyone watching this wants to go check out her channel, her links will be down in the description box. Please, please give her some love because this was fantastic. It's only got like 130,000 views. I say that like any of my channel videos have got 130,000 views, but you know what I mean. In comparison to a lot of the others that I've seen, this has got the fewest views and it's so disappointing because it has some of the best information. So feel free to go and check out Skylife, go and give her some love, go and give her some support. This video I can get behind wholeheartedly. And although I personally didn't agree with absolutely everything that was said by everyone, I can still fully appreciate the integrity that goes behind it. And for me, that's all I need in a video. I just need people with understanding, with full belief and practice in what they're doing, and an open-minded individual to go and do it. And straight off the bat, there were stereotypes that are immediately pushed to the side. They weren't dragged on for the entire video, and then it was just an educational video. It's 20 minutes. If you need to, watch it in 2 times speed. Watch the full video. It's really, really good. I've only included little sections in this. It's well worth a watch. Give her some love. Also, massive thank you to Harmony Nice because she is the inspiration behind this video series. Her links are also down in the description box as well. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like. It really, really means so much to me. If there are any other videos you would like me to react to, feel free to leave them down in the comment section as well. I don't typically go looking for these videos, so if you do find one that you would like me to do a reaction to, please let me know. And if you also have any questions, comments, concerns, video ideas, or just want to chit chat with the community down in the comment section, feel free to post a comment. If you did enjoy the magical content on this channel or in this video, feel free to hit subscribe. I try my best to post magical content every Wednesday and every Saturday at 6 p.m. So I hope you guys have a marvelous magical day, and I will see you in the next video.